we can get a little closer to what we're dealing with here. And I just want to tell everybody, like, I actually have long thought in terms of young souls. I don't know if the cards are going to agree with me, but my thought is what people are calling NPCs is just young souls, fragmented, for like a little fragment of a soul who still got a lot. And then people more evolved who can think for themselves. That takes lifetimes and lifetimes of lessons. And these guys are just new at the lessons and haven't learned to think deeper, get more connected spiritually. They're just not practiced in the ways of how to deal with the soul in a physical body. Okay, but I don't know if that's true, but that was my opinion for a long time, that there were people like that, a lot of them. And while I was reading for people for many years, I often read for very young souls. Like someone would bring them in and they didn't even want a card reading, but maybe their mom brought them in or a friend brought them in, or they were sitting around, and they really don't think past, what's for dinner, what are we doing? They're very rule followers. And so I met a lot of people like that really couldn't care less about anything deeper than really basic physical living. It's fascinating. And they're not artistic, creative, like so much. Maybe they craft a little or play around with that, but really just getting through the day. And yeah, so I met lots of people like that definitely fall into the category of what could be NPCs. But here's what the cards are saying about, do they biologically reproduce? And so temperance, now that's interesting, is a universal timing card, but it can also be about sort of a spiritual presence here. And then this card says no. So they're cut off from their spiritual connectedness. So it's not answering the questions exactly, but so far, but cut off from their spiritual. Also, they're very, very confused, foggy, and or fearful of emotional feelings. So these would be people that stay away from having an emotional reaction to things and feeling their feelings or looking at those feelings. So they have a lot of fear around emotional things, spiritual things with depth. So they're cut off. See that card? Cut off from spiritual depth here, having that connectedness. This card connects spiritually and this card's cut off. So they have the ability to, but they're cut off from it. And this card here, I feel like it's saying they do everything. So they're biologically human. So they're birthed, they can birth others. They're totally functioning humans, but they're more like a biological human, really cut off. They have the ability to be spiritually in touch, but they've not made the connection. Okay. And this card says they're fearful. Why do they're of anything like that? So they don't want to get too deep in. They're practical, more practical than they are with the depth of a lot of people on channels like this, where we really feel when someone takes our freedoms and rights away. These guys go through the motions, it looks like. And I think the young soul idea is true. And maybe even with that Page of Wands, maybe even fragmented souls, because a page is a small something and not a big something. And then here we've got the 5. So they're probably really new at physical earth plane stuff. They're very new at it here. And we've got the Hierophant. They really like rules. So they walk away from questioning anything and stick to the rules. So these are people that like doctrines, that follow so say they were born into a religion and their parents said this is how it was, and they don't question it, they just do it. That's what they're doing. Okay, so they don't go, why, or why am I doing that, or why are we sitting here in this church like I did? Why is this old man talking to me? Who cares what he says? And he doesn't feel very interesting. Where's the goddess? My daughter once said, sitting in church. She's definitely not a muggle or an NPC. Neither is my son. Okay, and I might just be being a delusional mom, but they both think past those kind of things. Okay, so, and some of us have maybe kids like that, nieces and nephews, but doesn't make them lesser selves. So the cards aren't saying they're lesser beings or clones or were placed here. They're literally fragmented souls. So they're not as developed. Let's say this. They're because I believe the older soul you get, the more soul essence you bring every time. So if you've had thousands and thousands of lifetimes and experience here, you're doing all kinds of things and having all kinds of experiences. At some point, you start to accumulate energy, and you come here with more and more wisdom. And these guys are just starting out here. And they're not as connected, and they haven't decided to connect. They don't see the why do I need to do that? They're not thinking about that. And again, I kept getting that they were not introspective thinkers. Okay, until they learn, and I think they'll learn through trial and error, because it doesn't mean they don't go through hardships and stuff, but maybe they don't really sit around thinking about it till they're out of that lifetime's. Maybe their soul leaves that lifetime, starts that in-between work, which is looking at how your whole life went. I feel like it'll take lifetimes for those NPCs to become critical thinkers like ourselves. Okay, so let's look at, that answers the where did they come from. I think they're part of exactly where we came from. Now let's ask, what do we need to know about them? So they do have souls. They're not developed. We could call them young souls. They're coming from the same essence as we are. They just need more experience, maybe lifetimes of experience. And, I got to be honest, with doing so many readings and just being such a social creature I've been my whole life, I've met tons of people that fit in those descriptions, even have them in my family, close family. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Close family. I think one of my parents was for sure like my dad. I'm pretty sure is an NPC. He never questions anything and follows the letter of the law, even though he's half Native, Indigenous Canadian. Never questions the government. Can you imagine what the government did to the Canadian and in North American natives all over, Indigenous peoples all over the world? But anyway, he has more of a reason to not trust the government. He totally trusts the government. Okay, people like that. So they don't question. They do the letter of the law. They're pragmatic, and at some point through their lifetime experiences, they might start accumulating the desire to look a little deeper, but they just haven't done that yet. So they're new souls. We got new souls. NPCs equals new souls. It's not that big of a mystery. I got to be honest, that makes a lot of sense. Now let's ask, what does the universe want to tell us about them? What message from the universe? And that's probably why a lot of these people are so hard to wake up. They're not introspective, so they're not sitting around. Okay, they're not sitting around wondering about what the government's doing. They're just making sure they got something for dinner or something for lunch. They're going through the motions. Okay, if somebody told them the royal family is good, they think that's true. Right? They're not thinking, whoa, wait a sec. Do you know what I mean? Freedom thinkers start going, wait a sec, why are those guys treated different? And why are we totally paying for everything? And they're living hugely above anyone's means around them on our backs. Why is that happening? And why does the law seem different for them, all those elites, and that includes royal families? Why is that? Right? We start wondering that, but these are people that don't wonder that. They're like, okay, that's what we're doing then. Did you see that? It looked like it moved. That's because we've got a delay on the visual here. I had actually moved it, but then there's a delay. It's quite interesting. Let's have a look here. So what do we need to know? So we need to intuitively, so we have that understanding, but it feels like we need to not maybe rub it in their faces. Okay. I feel like we don't need to rub it in these guys' face I feel like we have to actually be loving, keep that to ourselves a little, like don't be calling people NPCs and muggles. Okay, I don't think that's going to do any help or help them in any way. I don't think it'll speed up their process either. So it's saying open, like keep an open mind, and but keep it to yourselves what you know. You know a lot more than they do. You've had lifetimes more than they have. Okay, so and this is like eventually some of them might even start waking up. Okay, and when that happens, let them come to it on their own. The universe says, let them, like all we can do is share. And if they come to us and they want to know more, we can share. Whether they're going to believe us or not, that's a whole nother story. Okay, but at some point it might start, connecting the dot. They might start, and maybe it won't be this lifetime. Okay, so here we've got the King of Swords here. Yeah, treat them fairly. Don't treat them less than yourselves. This guy's really fair and diplomatic and even generous. This guy's generous. Cut them a little slack. They like, and that's hard even to hear, because I got to be honest. Sometimes my Scorpio moon just wants to give them a verbal spanking, okay, for being that dense, okay. But literally, maybe they really don't have it in them to question yet. So we need to let them do their lifetimes of process, and yeah. Just let them figure it out. And some of them might even wake up to some degree, but we'll probably notice that to some degree, some people will never go past where they're sitting. And I do feel that, unfortunately, with my dad and a couple of family members for sure. You bet. Okay, so yeah, compassion, kindness, keep it to yourselves, unless they come looking, which I would recommend anyway. If someone's questioning, I'm all over it, giving them, and I throw it out there and see how people react to it. But shoving it down their throats or belittling them, I guess that part, the universe like, don't be doing that, maybe. Okay, so let's look at this Russian mysterious doomsday radio station. Let's let Coco play this for us. So this radio station usually you just hear static, and only a few times it's actually had messages. Okay, and it's considered sort of a calm or like it gives out big signs or signals. And some people even liken it to Q. That'll be our next question. But let's have a listen to, recently it put out, like in the last 48 hours, it put out 4 interesting words. They're going to say them in Russian, but we've got them written out in English for you here. Okay, go ahead.
Николай, Женя, Татьяна, Иван. 33 702. Николай, Елена, Павел, Татьяна, Ульяна, Николай. 66 52 20 75.
Okay, wow. So what they're saying is Neptune, Thymus, Foxcloak, and Natabu. Okay, now I'd say we need some gematria on that. And I even shared something from, so the gematria on the station itself, okay, is actually 17. And also the day that it first came out started circulating That was yesterday, it looks like. So 4, 15, 25 equals 17. So I thought that was interesting, and that may be why people are saying this radio station is connected to Q and is used by Q. And I also looked at, is it Glock, or what is that AI that everybody uses under X? I can't remember what it's called, but I shared something that was somebody asked that entity or that AI system to describe what maybe was they were saying, and they pretty much got that it was probably, yeah, Grok, that's it. It was probably something military, and a military operation was going down, and it was given a heads up about it. Okay, but let's see what we get. Yeah, let's see what we get here. Cryptic messages. Yep. Let's see what we get is going on there first. We'll ask the Q question second. Right now, we're going to ask, what do those words mean? What do we need to know about it? Is it for us? Maybe it's for somebody else altogether different. Whoa, it looks positive for us. We're the woo people, and the Queen of Wands is definitely woo. Okay, so she's intuitive, she's unique, she's brave, she uses her intuition. That's the little black cat. She probably likes cats, or they do. People described as an archetype. She's a woo person. Okay. Okay, and I'm not saying all woo people have to like cats, but it does seem to be a common thread with woo people. Okay, so we've got the Chariot there in the past. It has been used in the past, it looks like, and maybe for operations, especially ongoing ones. This guy's active. So active ongoing operations, maybe they've used it in the past for that. That's the past card. Now we've got, so it's good news or something we've been wishing for. So it's telling us about something or signaling something that the woo community has been wishing for. And this card in the middle gives us a clue. Well, what would that be? Because we're wishing for a lot of things. This is a justice card. Justice is coming, assuring us that justice is coming. That's interesting. Wow. Okay, so that's what is the general the general population will see justice. Okay, so not just justice in the background, because we already know that's happening. Okay, a lot of people in this community believe that tribunals are happening. Some people don't believe that, but I certainly do. My cards agree with that. I'm not assuming everybody watching agrees with that, but this card says this is more of public justice. So public justice is coming, and it may originate somewhere different than North America, because this card, to me, when I read it in my card, so it's a signal to me that this would be somewhere away from, or kind of a Sagittarian card, travel and exotic travel, and somewhere different than I'm used to. So maybe it even means it'll start somewhere different, maybe even in Europe, because that radio station is based in Russia. So that's interesting. Now here we've got the Fool and the Page of Cups. So the Fool, so this is a random and unexpected. So it's something happens randomly and unexpected. I mean, but it looks like it's signaling that something will appear, because it won't be random if they're signaling it's not random to them, whoever put this out there. Okay, but it'll appear random and it'll surprise everyone. It might even have something to do with children, some kind of truth about children, or relating to this justice card here. So maybe somebody will actually get rounded up, or they'll finally release some true information on what was going on Epstein Island and islands like that, and at those Diddy parties, some truth about the babies and children involved, how it's not just a honeypot with adult women or even young women, like sometimes they'll say that in the news. No, it's way worse than that. It's horrifying things going on, adrenochrome and sacrificing infants and babies and children, and torture and ritual killings. Okay, that's what was going on at all of those events. But I feel like none of that's even come even close to being outed in the public eye the way we need it to be. Okay, so just sitting around talking about it isn't going to help. It absolutely has to be known by everybody. But even if you put it right in a whole bunch of NPCs, normies faces, sometimes I don't know how much they're going to listen, but I don't know how that'll all happen, but it really needs to be out there on a really big public format. And it looks like we're going to get our wish here. And it could start. So with the Page of Cups here, this is around when it starts. Let's see if we can get some more. I was trying to get maybe the month here. So that's a water sign month. I mean, March was water, like we had Pisces, and then Cancer's the next one. And the other way you could read that is the information comes from a place surrounded by water. Well, all the continents are, but I mean an island. I'll just throw out all the things it could mean just in case. Okay, now we've got the Queen of Cups here. Oh, well, wait. Epstein Island. Okay, and or Haiti was also a huge place, and that's an island as well, where they were doing all kinds of demonic things. And actually, the Clintons had a huge, they would gather up, so they would use HARP and or systems like that and create bad weather specifically to Haiti. And all those big storms Haiti was always having, it's because then they'd swoop in and gather up children. Okay, that was their favorite hunting ground, Haiti. Okay, so maybe some of that information comes out. So that's interesting. Just the nod towards it being surrounded by water. Possibly we're talking about a water sign month as well, because then I pulled this one, which would be Cancer. So the next water sign is Cancer, and that is true. So that would be late June. Cancer starts on June 20th or 21st, depending. So around that week in June, and then goes all the way through July until about the 21st of July. So now we've got the 5. So that feels like that's not for sure the when. So maybe it's saying anytime between now and then, and that would be the kind of the expectation of when it might come out. But I feel like people need to look into the gematria of those words as well. Let's have a look at if this is related to Q. So is this radio station, this Russian radio, and I believe that Russian government and Putin, the guy that's playing Putin, okay, because the real Putin was rounded up 11 years ago, 12 years ago now, 13, something. The year his wife, or a year after his wife divorced him. So find out about that time frame when he disappeared for like something like 9 days or something, 11 days, I can't remember. And nobody saw him or knew where he was. And then he showed up again, and he didn't look the same. And his wife divorced him not too long after that, because she probably got handed this guy that was playing him, and she didn't feel like being married to some stranger. You can't blame her for that. Anyway, so it hasn't been the same Putin. And I believe at that time, the White Hat Alliance, or maybe just the Alliance at the time, I don't know, but they replaced him with a good guy, and he started doing better things. He started to do things that weren't quite his usual thing. Interesting. And I'm sure they've done this a lot to world leaders. But let's have a look at, is this a Q thing, this Russian radio station? Is it relating to Q? Well, that is a major arcana, and that's a hidden card. 2 major arcanas. So I'd say yes, but it's also like, so this is a revelation, shocking revelation. And this card's about really deep fake, like deep fakes and or deep secrets or deep hidden things, or this really shrouded. So interesting, really shrouded. So I feel like it's not necessarily wanting to be known as that, but I feel like it's certainly connected to. So I'm going to go more towards the alliance, and that would be like the good military. So it's certainly the military part of the White Hats and alliance groups involved. But it's deeply wanted to stay hidden um, in the war. So while the war, and I think a lot of the war is already finished. I think a lot of this stuff is done. I don't think it's all done and dusted entirely, but a lot of it is done. A lot of the things we see, they did 3-4 years ago or even longer, and it's playing out in the theater. Not to say we can just sit on our laurels, because our reaction to things and how we go forward is largely in play with how things go. Okay, so we've got that Tower card there. So the shocking revelation is it might even be part of the here's what I'm picking up intuitively. It's part of the group that rounded people up a long time ago and actually processed them, and that's why these cards are so intense. And also the war card. So it feels like it's really you would be shocked if you knew what that radio station kind of connects to. It's probably the tribunal groups, right? And some of that information going out there is directly coming from what they've been doing in tribunals. Okay, so that's wow. Fascinating. I knew that one would be fascinating. So it is related to Q. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, that's a yes. Okay, all right. Now, what else we got? UK Supreme Court ruling. Oh, this was a good one. I can't believe the whole world should be celebrating this one. The law defines woman as people born biologically female. That was in the UK. Okay, so I just want to say, by the way, when you get a ruling like this, okay, how could that happen if the UK government is the total, like scumbags that they are? We know them to be so deep state. I believe it proves to me anyway, that this is my opinion, that they are absolutely white hat background shadow run by White Hat Alliance. And this is like, because it contradicts this government. They're doing everything they can to completely woke the whole country, to just ruin it and take it down, just shred it with wokeness, and also populating it with people who don't, first of all, don't even want to be there. I wonder if they force those people to be there who don't have any interest in fitting in the culture and want to take over and replace it with their culture. Okay, so as far as I'm concerned, yeah, it's wow. It doesn't make sense that the UK is what Supreme Court actually ruled this. So I want to know, because that to me looks like that's a big calm for this community. And I feel like I was getting some information about that last week, where we were going to get some big reveals. That one's huge. That's huge. Anyway, I want to know, does it really change things for the better? Is this the start of that woke stuff just going down the toilet? Because to me, it's like, I got to be honest, a lot of stuff that I'm seeing that they say, okay, this is what these guys are doing in schools. And I feel like it's a completely encouraged and maybe even completely faked by the White Hat Alliance, just to make you go, what? Because some of the stories out there, they always have the same sort of actors, like they're like guys dressed as women. They got purple hair, they got glasses, they're horrifying looking. They always have the same look. Or they're really unfortunate women. They choose the very specific. So the other actors, in my opinion, and they got them saying the most unbelievably foolish stupid things and embarrassing themselves, completely walk of shame on this, and but making no sense, just like literally coming across completely insane. So to me, it's like that's the White Hat Alliance just telling you how insane it was to even think this kind of stuff. But when you just talk to regular folks, a lot of them agree that no, men shouldn't be competing with women in women's sports. Okay, but even if they're really liberals, some of them would say that, you know. But then others are just the woke virus or whatever. It's like a virus. The woke sickness, okay, takes over, and they just can't, like, they tippy toe around it, and they don't want to offend it. Meanwhile, they're offending entirely half the population of the earth, completely offending me, by the way, and most women who'd want to play in those sports. It's like taking away women's thunder at every turn. I get that. Like I constantly see the deep state hates the feminine. They want, like most of our people that we revered as the most beautiful women in the world on covers of magazines were men, or biologically born men, transitioned at young ages in these weird, sick families to be, women. So, and then placed and then taken all the titles. So now, like, it's inverted and it's on purpose. It's a spell cast to basically degrade any kind of positive vision of femininity and true feminine power. And they're scared to death of how powerful real women are. That's in my opinion. So a real advocate for women wouldn't tolerate it. Okay, so people saying they advocate for women, but tolerating men prancing around, calling themselves women when they clearly aren't. I don't care how they want to dress, but don't tell people you're a woman. You're not a woman. Okay, so that's offensive, right? It's not about that they want to dress like women. Couldn't care less. Okay, but it's about that they want to be and have all the privileges of women, when actually we've been shadow banned and canceled true feminine all through history. It's like 2,000 years of it anyway. Maybe before that, maybe we were in charge. I got memories of that. Maybe we kind of treated guys badly, males. Honestly, I got memories of that. But anyway, and we've been paying back karmically for a really long time. But seriously, the deep state wants to cancel the feminine. Okay, and this was a huge win for women. And I just want to know, is this going to start changing some things? Is this the beginning of that change? Because, I know that we've been outing them, but we need the change to come, so we could just stop this silliness. Like, yes. So yes, 9 of Cups is a wish card. It's the intention anyway. Whoop, yep, wants to flip it. Okay, so I feel like you'll see a lot of flipping on a lot of things with that Wheel of Fortune. Is like everything flips. Okay, so that's yes. So yes, absolutely. And because this is in the background, I'm going to say that yes, that enthusiastic yes, it already flipped. Okay, so I feel like I'm right about, so that sort of tells me that already a lot of these things we're seeing that we think are happening in schools and stuff, these are actors playing things out. So even if people think they're real, so they're engaging in it at, so say, a big school sort of a meeting with the school board, and you see these big fights, and I think they're just letting people go in there because they've got actors placed and they're pushing through these things, and they're shocking us with these stories of totally insanity where they're, pushing masturbation books on 6-year-olds, just insanity that makes no sense and isn't safe for our kids. And I'm not saying you shouldn't bring your child up to be aware sexually, absolutely, for their own safety even, but not the way they're doing it. And you leave that up to the parents and maybe teach the parents how to do it properly. Okay, so it doesn't turn into grooming. the way it's been presented, it looks literally like grooming, and probably achieves those results. So that's definitely a deep state ploy. And I feel like it's been taken over. White Hat Alliance has been really shoving that in our faces, so people would really see how dangerous, slippery slope that is. So that's where I think that's been going there. Okay, so here we've got, so yes, absolutely, things could even happen. They've been at this big, we've been waiting a really long time, but this is like huge changes are coming. I feel like we've been saying this year, everything changes. And that tower card, the whole year, we're going to see these tower moments, and wokeism is going to, it's literally getting flushed down the toilet. That end of it for sure. And yeah, I love it. I was so excited when I saw that. Okay, I think we're good. I think we had enough today of this. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching my video. And do take care. Sending you all ravens. And like I said, if you're not watching this on tarotbyjanine.com,
that's interesting, because right now we seem to be in a lull of information. We're all waiting for the Epstein files. Pam Bondi says she received a truckload, but now suddenly there's a delay again because they have to go through it and they have to redact stuff, and who knows what's going on. Is that the information we're going to get this week or next week? Are we still on track for a huge deluge of information, or are we going to see some type of holdback here? Jenny, what do you see?
Uh-oh, devil. Devil's showing up in the near future. So political bedevilment. So I'm thinking holdups. Okay. And then we've got temperance and the Four of Wands. But this card's saying it's going. There may be a really good reason in retrospect for the holdups. Although really nobody wants to hear that right now. I get it. Right. But this card says universal timing is in effect. And when it does come out, it'll be perfect timing. So I guess this is a timing thing. But yeah, there's going to be holdups, and it's going to look, it's almost like they'll ramp up the really ridiculing the holdup too. So I'm not sure exactly what they're trying to achieve with that. I know there's lots of different ideas out there on what they're trying to achieve, but they're purposely doing it. The whole thing is all purposeful when you have this many major arcanas, and especially with the temperance card. Somebody's pulling the strings in the background, and it's exactly how they wanted it to be. None of this looks like real holdups, like where they're actually being held up. This is all orchestrated from what I can see. And we've got the Judgment. It's like they're almost like trying to build the energy.
Build the energy or build the anger? Because right now we're seeing more and more anger, and we're seeing what, oddly enough, what Penny Kelly was seeing. Remember in November, December last year, she said that there was a period where people started to get angry, I guess, at Trump, or disbelieving at Trump, or starting to lose confidence in the Trump team to actually fulfill on some of these promises. We're seeing that now in the last week or so. If you look at the words that are being shared on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, people are starting to be pissed here a little bit. They don't have much patience left for this stuff. So are they also trying to anger people as a groundswell? Is that a knockoff effect, or is there something else here that they're really going for? Wow, tarot card.
Yeah, we've got the Tower card here. So working up to sort of, that's a big crescendo. So I don't know about anger. Like, I guess the Tower could be like anger, but that's a shock value card. The word shocking comes more to mind than anger. Okay.
So the delay is trying to cause a shock? Like I don't
or build up the anticipation. And think about it, because they're delaying, it's all over the news, or at least our news.
Yeah.
I don't know about the mainstream news if they're talking about it, but now a bunch of normies are revisiting the idea of the Epstein files. They had forgotten all about that. That's in the back of their mind somewhere until it all came forward with this recent shenanigans. I feel like there could be a really good reason, putting it right front and center for everybody. Gives people time to go down some rabbit holes, catch up on what's really going on there, actually understand how important it is.
Yeah. Well, we'll come back to that a little bit later because I asked Cliff if he can pull me some data from the last report, and he sent me a few things here in terms of projections that could lead in also to the why the delay. So we'll let that stew a little bit, Janine, for now. We'll do a few more news items, and I'll come back and I'll put that into context with maybe 2 or 3 other news items that could paint us a bigger picture here to understand all of this and the why. Because in my view, and this is my personal opinion, the longer they wait, they're actually playing with fire too. I understand there might be a benefit of creating a shock value and having more normies come back and look at it and go down the rabbit holes. But at the same time, there's so many things happening, and people are like, even if you look at the Americans right now, some of them are seeing that perhaps these trade war might not be good for them also, right? They're starting to see a little bit, oh wait, that's going to mean that this costs more for me, this costs for more. Oh, we didn't actually vote for that, Mr. Trump, right? So we're seeing that also in the mainstream news starting to pop up, and also on Twitter. Like we're seeing even patriots suggest that, hey, we're not sure this is the right approach. They're not saying no yet, but you can see they're wavering a little bit on the Trump can do no wrong attitude. That's not what we're seeing here in this last week. So we'll see where that goes. Thanks, JC. Perfect topic to explore further. Yeah, we'll come back to that a little bit more here. Now, I do want to go look at these fires. Breaking news, New York Governor Kathy Hochul has declared a state of emergency as wildfires continue to spread across New York. And here we have multiple massive brush fires have engulfed Long Island, New York, and the Hamptons. In another file, they're talking about the billionaire's playground being on fire. Seems to me, Janine, kind of weird for this time of year to have a forest fire or brush fire in Long Island in New York. It seems like there's something way bigger behind this. Have you already looked at this on TBJ, or is this your first looking at it? Okay, let's do a first poll to see, dude, is this just a weird happenstance, or is this deeply part of the war here?
It looks created. We've got a creative card and then a placement card, like something that was placed. So I don't think those are wild at all.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty obvious. So there's definitely a strategy, and it has something to do with holding ground. Somebody's holding their ground with the wildfire. Somebody's trying to keep you away from something. Somebody's holding something up and trying to keep you away from something. Staving you off, deflecting. There's a deflection going on. I wonder if they're burning something again. I wonder if they're hiding something again. I wonder if there's something they don't want you to see here. That's the feeling it feels like. And then we've got 2 more clarifiers. So we've got the 9 of Cups, which is like a wish or a desire, and justice. So a wish or a desire for justice. So it feels retaliatory and covering up.
So, okay, so let's break that down. Retaliatory. Now, is this in retaliation for LA, for example, that some of the rich people who might be behind that in terms of trying to rebuild LA and put people out of their homes, are they now being put out somehow? Is that at that level?
Yeah, 2 major arcanas are yeses.
Yeah. So there's a little bit of that. And then you said the second part was hiding something.
Yeah, it feels like they're trying to hold ground or stave, like get you away from something. So keep you away from something.
Is there evidence in the Hamptons that need to be destroyed? Is somebody destroying evidence, basically?
This is more like keeping the general population away. So I feel like there might be two things going on. So I think we got a white hat situation and the bad guys situation. I feel like the bad guys are doing something and the white hats had to step in. And now they're trying to keep the general population out of the area. So something was going on in the area that was wreaking or going to wreak havoc, and they had to go in there and maybe start the fires to get everybody out of the way.
Are they trying to arrest like really rich people here, like on the sly where nobody notices? You might have to reshuffle there. A lot of cards are.
Yeah, we might have to reshuffle.
Let's reshuffle on that.
Yeah.
I'm very curious about that. Cliff is talking about the chemtrails also. There's a lot of pines in that area. Those get dried up very fast. I know we have the same issue here in some of the forests near where I live in Canada. So it's kind of like an explosive situation, but that still it could be very deliberate. And I think that's what the Janine is picking up here. This
is deliberate, but it doesn't feel like just one party is doing stuff there.
There's many things happening. So it looks like, okay, so it's part of the war. And so now look at, is there like arrests, moving people or moving equipment or moving something out of the area without, tourists noticing? Is that part of what that is? Let's try to get a little bit more clarity there.
So this could be activities that are really devious. Okay, and this is a 3 of Wands, which is like going into new territory. So they could have found something that was going on that was really devious. And this is a military card. So we got the good military. This is the war. So it's the war come out in the public again. Sounds a lot like what happened in LA.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got, so now this is, so we got the devious hidden agenda card. This guy can be like, doing really devious underground things. And this cards could be the party substance. So we could have a situation where they needed to clear people out because they discovered an operation. They wanted to clean it out. And now we got the deep state card and the page of swords. And this is like, this can be gossip and innuendo. They might have even heard about this from the deep state's own players. So somebody ratted out their own people here. White hats are going in there, cleaning stuff out. And Emperor. But I feel like they might have hit... I almost feel like a firestorm of sorts happened. So I get like fighting against each other. Literally firestorm. Like I get army or military. I wonder if anybody is seeing military vehicles or planes, military planes, anything like that. Because I feel like there's military around there.
Let us know in the live chat. Maybe an extra clarifier. You know how you and I read that the first attempted release of the Epstein file was indeed a fuck up. It wasn't what they had planned originally. It was kind of weird the way the cards came out. And now, since a week or so ago, Pam Bondi says that, okay, she's received a truckload after asking Patel here to force the FBI to disclose what they were holding back. Could it be that what's happening in the Hamptons right now is a direct result of this truckload of information on the Epstein file? Is that connected somehow?
Somebody was really hurt by what happened there. Fearful and hurt and worried about getting brought to justice. Fearful, hurt, and worried about getting brought. So I feel like we got a few different things going on. I think they're just like in LA, there was things going on underground. I feel like there's a whole bunch of stuff all going on at the same time there. And it's not just one situation.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So not normal. It's part of the war here playing out in front of us. Okay.
Yeah, that's what that card's all about.
The war
It
card.
started with the war. It has something to do with the war.
Yeah. Okay. Let's leave it there. Switching gears here to the financial front. BRICS News here was reporting 1.5 trillion Deutsche Bank warns the US dollar is at risk of losing its dominance. Now, we've been following this for many years here on the show, but it appears that we're at a pivotal point. If you follow the work of Andy Scheckman, also the states have become net importers of gold since November of last year. We have all these rumors now that perhaps the United States is going to be pushing out a gold-backed treasury note as of July of 2026, meaning that a lot of things would have to happen before that time to bring gold and also silver here back into the limelight. And now we're getting more of these news items again. We've seen these before, kind of like pinging our radar, but it appears that we're getting closer to some type of big announcement here, Janine. Can we pull on that? Moving into the month of March here, are we going to see some type of breakage in the facade that is the world reserve currency? And is that why Trump appears to be so erratic on the tariff front here? He's basically negotiating maybe a debt default here that is just around the corner, and he's using these tariffs or the threat of those here to renegotiate perhaps that power distribution of the world here that was set in place after World War II. What do you see there?
So we got a yes. And we've also got this 9. So they could have run into it, or it's saying it's really difficult. So it does make sense. There must be some difficulty, because if you think about it, he is really erratic. They're going to do it. They're not going to do it. They're going to do it this date. They're not going to do it. It feels really strange. It's also connected to the war.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the war on sort of bankers and the old system, I guess.
Yeah.
And what other parts of that question? Give me a little more on what you were saying. So yes to how you described it.
Yeah, so the lead up to the death of the dollar, basically, and the negotiations for Trump. But my question was, are we going to start seeing in the public eye some type of breakage in the facade of that US dollar dominance, or some type of negotiation towards a new system to replace it here in March? That was my question.
Well, that's the facade in the now. So we're definitely dealing with that. This card's absolutely a facade. Everything you see here, nothing's clear. So the whole thing's like lies, innuendos, non-clear. Near future, this is a lot more stable, or somebody's coming out with something really stable going forward, or stabilizes the whole situation financially.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll appear really generous, or the situation appears there's a generosity coming, if that makes any sense. Okay, so something will come that will look really good financially.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's how it'll look. Okay.
Well, they have no choice if they're going to try to rebuild confidence, because it is a confidence game at this point. They're losing confidence if they're going to introduce something else, and they don't have the force right now, unless there's a weird alien invasion thing. We'll get to that in just a moment. But the COVID situation was more of a forceful way to bring us into this digital CBDC world, wet dream of the World Economic Forum. That didn't really work. So they're behind the ball on the force. So if they're not going to force us, they're going to have to give us the carrot instead of the stick here. And as you say, it might look good at the beginning. Anything else on those bottom 3 rows there with the...
Yep. So further information, this card's a 10. So we go from a 9 to a 10. Something that's been difficult ends. Okay, so the ending of the old system, it's like kind of given a hard time to end, though. It's like putting up a good fight. But then the end comes, this new thing gets introduced. And here we've got the Knight of Wands. Like that's a military card again, but it could also talk about moving really quickly. With the new system wants to move really quickly.
Right.
But you could also say the military might somehow get called into this, depending on, I guess, how things go with the situation right now.
Remember in the older web stuff, Cliff had the tanks in front of the Federal Reserve. So I'm not sure what the timing was for that, but that could be something that's coming up here, and that's why you're seeing the military card. He's on the screen now too. He says it will be the euro that craps out first. The bonds are shaky already as the euro versus dollar war becomes public. Can you do a poll on that? Clarity on, do we see the tidal wave basically coming from Europe first in the situation that we've presented, or is there something else perhaps in the back end we haven't figured out yet?
Well, the euro looks like it's a big facade, so I don't know what I mean by that. It's being just held up. It's an illusion or a delusion, and there's already something coming beyond the euro. So I don't know if I'm jumping ahead here, but that's what those cards say.
Okay. And do you want to do clarifiers on timing? Because I originally asked, is this in March? Are we going to start to see that? Or are we going to have this set up in March and maybe see the physicality come to fruition more in the summertime? Or do we actually see some weird stuff happening in March here?
Well, they wanted to do it in February. There's a surrender card. So they didn't get it done. That's my February card.
Okay.
And then, they had to walk away from it. That could be March, sure, the moon card.
Is that also the death card? Did you go back to that reading, or you said there had to be a death first before we got to it? Does that still play here?
I wonder if they didn't get to it in February because the death got held up. They had to step away from a certain death. And then the Wheel of Fortune. So some unexpected things happened that created them to have to wait. I'm going to just do two more on a when. Okay, it's like every day it could be coming any day. Yeah. This is like, I'd say up to June, or, June is another way you could read that card. Yeah. So they're watching the data or the needle every day on this before they move. Basically, it could be tomorrow, like it could have been yesterday at this point. Yeah, this feels really in motion. Yeah. Time dependent on the war scenario. Okay, let's take a quick look at what's happening in Canada, and then we'll come back. We'll do a few more segments, and I want to get into the ET front a little bit more tonight too, and that'll kind of tie into the original question of why perhaps we're seeing all of these delays on the Trump administration front, and how that could shape up here for the next couple of months. So, breaking news here in Canada, Carney was just elected. They say elected, I'll say selected here. That's my personal opinion, as the new leader of the Liberal Party, and he's now de facto Prime Minister of Canada. Now, a couple of weird things I want to get into just to set the stage, and probably you and I are going to have to decode this a little bit more moving on. The main question is this guy going to be the guy that runs the election? Will he actually want an election? Does he not want an election? We're going to get a poll on that. But I just want to put some of these weird things that are coming up here in the last couple of weeks that suggest that we might be in bigger trouble here in Canada. And this could be a pathway to manifest some of the language to where the United States would have to come up and save us from something. Remember that? That was last year. Cliff was pulling that from the data. So the Liberal Party and the CBC ignore the obvious, says David Jacobs here, Dr. David Jacobs. If 400,000 people registered and only 137,000 could be verified, it means that 263,000 people aren't actually Liberal supporters. So there's a weird question in terms of the whole process of the nomination here of Carney as a Liberal leader. This is Brian Lilly also sarcastically saying he mistakenly turned on CBC and witnessed David Cochrane here defending Mark Carney at every turn. Power politics, of course, holding the water for Mark Carney in the last couple of months, defending him at every step of the way. So it's kind of like they already knew this was going on and they were pre-positioning themselves. And on the one hand, the CBC doesn't really have a choice here. The opposition leader has already told them that they would defund the CBC if they were in power. So they have no choice but to back up the Liberal Party, and the Liberal Party who just promised to up by 1.4 million or 1.4 billion
no, billion dollars, their budget here moving into this electoral year. So it's do or die for the CBC. And of course, they've made their bed, and it's very clear. It's so clear that even the other media here in Canada are reporting it. So it's kind of weird. Again, on this weird thing, they pushed out Ruby Dalla. She did a couple of videos, interviews in the last couple of weeks, suggesting that there was weird shenanigans happening there at the party as well, that she was in fact leading him in the polls. And that's why they wanted her out, and that's why they concocted this foreign interference scheme against her to push her out of the leadership. And that was funny because just last month we had this huge investigation by the RCMP, and we were told that there was no foreign interference whatsoever. Nothing to see here, all good. But it's so convenient that they could use it now to ensure that Mark Carney here is crowned our prime minister. So we'll get back into that in the next couple of weeks or so. Finally, this is interesting too, and it's scary to a lot of people. So the Liberals, the NDPs, and the Green Party have all been on the record now of wanting more censorship, doubling down on the woke stuff that is now being corrected in the States. We're seeing a lot of movement on the Trump administration, but they also want to ban X, Janine. So a lot of people are starting to worry in Canada here that we might have to go a little bit deeper into the mud before we see a little bit of light. So they're worried right now, with reason, as to what's going to be happening in Canada. And this government is in prorogation, but just 2 days ago announced another 700 guns that they're banning from the Canadian population who were legally owning those guns. We're talking about farmers and duck hunters and stuff like that. So they seem to be full pedal to the metal with the World Economic Forum agenda moving forward now with this new guy at the head of the party, Mark Carney. So first question here. So sorry for all that intro, guys. And again, I just wanted to lay that out. These are the concerns that everybody's bringing up this week. We'll probably come back to this the week after the conference and look at this in more detail. And by that time, we might actually have an election call here in Canada. So that's the first question, Janine. Mark has been flip-flopping on whether or not he would call an election. He said originally he would do so at his earliest convenience. And in the last couple of days leading up to this leadership race, he was very silent on the matter when the media was asking him. Yet right now, we're getting reports that the plane and the campaign bus are getting a new paint job, and people are being asked to rent their campaign offices. So it very much looks like we're going out for a quick election here this spring. But let's do a first poll on that, see if that is the case.
We got the theater card.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Free. We're already a free nation. We might not be called Canada anymore, even with that card there.
Well, that's something else from the data. The newly constituted Canada. It was called the new something, New Canukia. I forget what Cliff had picked up, or the webbot was suggesting it was a 2-word thing, but a brand new name for Canada. Yeah.
Okay, I don't think we get there. That's the second or third time I've got that. So it appears like it's all going in that direction. Looks like it's theater, I guess, to keep us entertained while something completely different takes us in a new direction.
Do you want to have a clue as to what that new direction might be? Let's do some clarifiers.
That's a justice card, but it's so big with this major arcana. We could be talking karmic justice and the Fool. So it looks like the Fool says it's not something anyone expects. So it could be one of those events we've been talking about that takes everybody to a totally different level.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah.
Now, does that have to do with big revelations? Remember in the last week or two, we were doing shows and you were picking up in the cards something to the effect that we might not get an election because before that, big revelations would come out about a lot of these players. Is that also in the cards right now? Do you still see that?
Yeah.
Because right now, let me just add this for the record also. This is MP Michelle Gardner. Michelle Rempel. Carney has gone through the entire race and will be sworn in as PM without disclosing his assets and political conflicts of interest. Mocks flaunting ethics rules in his acceptance speech. I saw the clip earlier today. He was mocking Pierre Poliver, who was saying, "Hey, we haven't even vetted this guy, and he's the prime minister. What the hell just happened?" So it's kind of a weird situation here, to say the least, and there might be more skeletons in his closet, including this whole Epstein thing, to where he admitted that his wife's sister was friends with Ghislaine Maxwell and that they had rubbed shoulders at all of these events, including that hedonistic summer party he was at, in one of his response to, I think it was the Global Mail interview on that question. So is that in the cards here too, or is it something completely different and not necessarily related to Carney at all?
Well, this card says it'll be really unique and outside the box and come in left field. And this is like huge eye opener. Judgment card wakes everybody up into a really unique, takes you on a really unique slant. So I'm not sure. I don't think it excludes what you said, but maybe it'll be even more unique than exactly that.
It's bigger than Carney.
I think so. Yeah, these are this is crazy. 3 major arcanas with the polls.
Yeah.
Like the overview polls. And then this one's like unique and outside the box and not what you'd expect. And yeah.
Yeah. Okay, do another poll because a lot of cards are down. I want to ask you if this huge revelation or change up here has something to do with the whole Trump meme of Canada becoming the 51st state.
So
how does that tie in the threat about, Governor Trudeau, Canada being the 51st state, to what you're just picking up now, that big revelations come up that are bigger than Carney that bring us in a completely new direction? Is that tied in? And is that why Trump is priming the pump, so to speak, here, with at least warning about some type of amalgamation or association between Canada and the States in a new way that we haven't seen before?
Wow.
Fuck.
That might come later, 2 aces on the bottom, but something else comes before that. So the end of a facade. Well, I guess that could tie into what you're saying, because it would end the facade that we're living in a country called Canada.
Yeah.
Right? Ending of a facade. And then this card here is safely moving us in a new direction. We've got the King of Pentacles in the middle. So a financial that financial information ties in here too, when you got this card and this card.
Yeah.
There's going to be some financial revelations coming in there too, that I think maybe it's that and other things. Financial.
It's on the financial front. Well, again, if Trump is truly trying to create some type of economic trade zone and also security zone here in North America, it makes sense. The money system we're defending against perhaps an outside threat of the BRICS, perhaps of a big disturbance also with the ET side. We'll get into that in just a moment here. Fascinating.
And
so it's setting up now for 2 yeses a little bit later on, but the setup has something to do with financing.
Yeah.
With the financing.
And this card here is like like good military or military movement or some kind of movement that's fast and protective. I feel a protection here.
Yeah.
So moving in a fast, protective way. So something comes first and then a yes to what you said second. So something will be before that, and it's financially sort of slants to the financial world. Okay. And we'll like it, at least at first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of the financial world, let's hear what one of our keynotes has to say here. He's going to be Andy Sheckman, of course, going to be in Ottawa with us. And let's hear the promo he has to offer for you guys tonight.
Sheckman here. Hope you guys are enjoying the show. As a special thank you to the Beyond Mystic audience, I'm pleased to announce that we'll be offering junk silver, pre-1965 constitutional silver coins at $1.89 over the price of silver. That's the lowest price you'll find it anywhere, period. Just go to beyondmystic.com.
You can hear that, right, Janine? But could
I
you see the video?
I couldn't see the video, but I could hear it. Now I
Oh,
see
now I
it.
can see it. Okay, there was a weird glitch there. Okay, let's keep playing.
net/.
And by the way, it's 149 over spot. He did bring the price down since he recorded that clip for you guys. So 149 here for the duration, and hopefully he still has some inventory for you guys at that price. So check it out at beyondmystic.net/
silver. Fill out the form and get yourself some silver too. Now back to the show.
I asked Andy, I said, what song do you want to walk into the stage at the conference? He says, oh, that's a good one. He says, I think I want Money by Pink Floyd. I'm like, oh, that's a good one. So that would be cool. Speaking of that, what song do you want to walk out to the stage, Janine?
I hadn't even. I'll have to think about it.
You'll have to think about it. Very good. YMCA? What do you think? You want to do the YMCA song with me? We can go.
Oh, I do it that one with you for sure.
Yeah. Okay. What do you guys think in the live chat? Should Janine and I do YMCA to come out? That'd be cool. I know what Cliff High is going to have for his song. That's going to be funny as hell. All right. So finance stuff. Let's get back to our news articles for tonight. So, okay. A couple of weird things here. So let me first start with this in here. This one. See, I'm getting a weird deck. I can't even add the other one back. That's so weird. Let me remove that one. Okay, now it works. Now we're having a weird glitch tonight. I'm not sure if it's StreamYard or Rumble. Okay, so this is a tweet from Cliff. Is it 9 days or 9 days and 1 hour since they did the time change? We still have 9 days of fuck up from Trumpitos. It's my thinking that after the 23-day fuck up, the Trumpitos will be Trump turnips as they try to hide themselves and this fuck up by going underground. So we're talking about the Epstein fuck up here. Janine, you had pulled that on that day also. It was indeed a fuck up. This is kind of a setting the stage here for this bigger conversation, suggesting that something's happening in the background right now that's creating these delays and these fuck ups. And these delays on one hand are obligatory. They're orchestrated, but at the same time, they're a response to outside events also that are kind of skewing their original optimal timeline of how they wanted to roll this out. Because you remember when we first looked at Trump's administration when he was inaugurated, the first and second week, I kept asking you, is he on his timeline? Is he happy with everything? And he was ahead of the timeline. And then suddenly we saw, there was a fuck up, and now there's some delays, right? So we're in that time zone now, and we're trying to figure out where that goes. But Cliff is alluding to here also, hiding on the ground here, that people start to have an issue with the fact that there are delays, right? It's kind of cool to see some of the things, but until we see the Bill Gates and the big names being actually arrested, the chemtrails actually being stopped and exposed in a big way, suddenly it's more kind of blah, blah, blah rhetoric, and we might be in a situation, oh, look, meet the new boss, same as the old boss. They're still protecting the old guard, the pedos. None of those guys have been arrested yet and all that stuff, right? The issue with that is some of this information leads them back to the whole ET front. And this is what Dr. Greer was saying on, let me see if I can bring this one up, on Alex Jones the other night. I'm going to play part of this for you guys tonight. So let me see if I can go back to the beginning. Okay, I'll start at the beginning. Let me just change slide decks. Make sure you guys have the audio on this present your screen. Hold on. Kind of important to set the stage for the conversation here. Okay, yeah.
The administration needs to look into this and move quickly to get this under control because they got 4 years, but I actually don't think they have 4. I think they have 2 at the most, 1.5 to 2, and then the proverbial S stuff is going to hit the fan. So the president and Kash Patel and Pam Bondi and these folks need to get right into this and initiate a serious deep state penetration and get this under control. This issue is going to come out this year or the next through a group of whistleblowers who have all that evidence. If it doesn't come out in an orderly way, It'll be 1,000 times worse than COVID if it's mismanaged by the administration. So I want to be very measured and clear in what I'm saying.
Can you hear that okay? It was glitching on my side. Yeah? Okay.
Yep, I did.
I'll scroll it past the intro here, go back. I'll play a little bit more here, but essentially what Guru is saying is there's no avoiding it. The ET stuff is going to come out. Now, there's two parts of that. There's the real ETs, and then there's the reverse engineered human stuff that we have that almost mimic to the point where we wouldn't recognize it. And that's what he's warning right now, that the Trump administration, Elon Musk, with the statements he made on the Joe Rogan show, that he's probably not read in. I'll get into that in just a moment. But that would leave them vulnerable to a fake alien invasion unless they knew of the stuff they actually have at Northrop Grumman and all these underground bases and subcontractors here in the United States. So let's play a little bit more of the clip, and then I'll ask a few questions of you, Janine.
I mean, that's already what it is. And what it's pushing is depopulating people, dumbing us down, teaching us basically to hate ourselves.
Right.
Trump is going against that.
Yep.
So as Trump gets read into this more, he said yesterday, the globalists want us poor. They want to suppress society. I don't want us to be poor. I want the world to be wealthy. He's really getting it now.
But he can't do it without dealing with this issue. Damn it.
No, I understand.
So let me make something very clear. It's a pipe dream unless they deal with this issue. I'm going to jump in here.
I agree with you.
There's no damn way you're going to get a golden age where we're going to have prosperity and peace going into the future until this issue gets run to ground. And there is no one in the administration who is read in properly yet to the point that they could authorize a plan to do that.
Well, I can tell you, the White House and all of them watch this show. I mean, Trump's called me up when he's watching the show, the nighttime show. So that they watch, they get it, they see it. Listeners will send it to them. And I understand.
But here's what
I understand how important this is. But I just find it fascinating.
But here's what I'm afraid of. If there is a clock running, and let me tell you what the clock is. This issue is going to come out this year. Or the next, through a group of whistleblowers who have all that evidence. If it doesn't come out in an orderly way, it'll be 1,000 times worse than COVID if it's mismanaged by the administration. So I want to be very measured and clear in what I'm saying. Okay, and if you can just listen for a moment. So there is a way to do this that would be a transition away and not be catastrophic. But if it gets delayed more than a year or two, then what's going to happen is that it's going to be taken out of the control of the administration, and it'll be a runaway train, and it will be worse than COVID. So I think there is a learning curve.
Well, describe what that is. I mean, what the bad scenario?
The bad scenario is that this comes out from other places around the world, and they leapfrog ahead of the United States. But they were able to then stage this alien attack. So you have to.
And that's where I was trying to go is, what are they going to do to try to stop us? It's clear that this stuff's starting to leak out. And exactly. So the alien false flag, let's speak to that.
Well, the best way to do that is to send people out who say, and this is where Mr. Musk misspoke the other day on Joe Rogan here in Austin. It's when he said he'd been through Lockheed and Northrop, and they don't have any propulsion or energy systems like this, and that the rockets he has is the best thing they have. This is absolutely not true. And
I think he's being generous there. I don't think Elon Musk misspoke. I think Elon Musk absolutely lied. I don't think for a second that Elon Musk is not read into it. If he's a player in the space industry, he absolutely is read in on it, and he has no choice but to lie about it. My personal opinion, but let's keep going here, and then I have some questions for you.
The problem with that is that if you allow that to stay as a fact, it means that they could stage operations that are false flag operations that look alien, and there would be no countervailing evidence to say it was some staged man-made event. So that would pivot the whole world, including the president, into a aggressive stance towards non-human intelligence, which would be, you're at World War III.
And that puts the shadow global breakaway civilization in control.
Correct.
Because they're getting to control the total narrative.
Yes, and they would like to eliminate about 5 billion people. I'll just put that on the table.
And so they can use the panic over this to trigger the Great Reset they really want.
Sure. I mean, look what happened with COVID. I'm a medical doctor. Even the World Health Organization admits now that the global shutdown killed more people than it helped. But imagine something where they present a false alien threat by staging with this sort of advanced technology. So the reason why Mr. Musk needs to get briefed on this very quickly is that to make a statement that we don't have those technologies leaves the path wide open for this cabal of sociopaths to stage something using those technologies, which he's not read into, to stage a threat. And that then triggers us right into something worse than the 9/11 Iraq and Afghanistan wars, worse than COVID. This would be 1,000 times worse than COVID. I'm lighting up a 5-alarm fire right here.
Okay. There's a little bit more to that. I'll go from memory here. I'm trying to get this as concise as I can for you guys in the show. So he's talking about now the fact that the Trump administration, in his opinion, and now he's on a big show. He's on Alex Jones, and he was just on Khloe Kardashian's show yesterday. So this is mainstream stuff now with the Kardashians as well. And I kind of joked at that. I said, oh, you know, the space alien shit is getting real when the Kardashians from Star Trek get involved. Just wait until the Obsidian Order assets are exposed. So that was me joking. But yes, he was actually on Khloe Kardashian on the show the other day. So I'm guessing at this point that he's getting this exposure because there's some type of movement afoot to prime the pump on this particular topic. So they want the Trump administration, in my view right now, have their hands tied. They want public opinion and outrage for them to be briefed on this situation, to go down and deal with this in order to prevent what Dr. Greer is talking about here, this 5-alarm, worse than 9/11 or COVID situation, to where we could get leapfrog by other countries and be in a difficult financial and security position afterwards. So my first question is here, is this a big show? Is Greer now being either played or propped up here somehow for the Trump administration to have some more support to bring up this topic into the main view so that they can act on it, because they feel at this point, for whatever reason, their hands are tied on the subject, to the point where Elon Musk is still lying on the Joe Rogan show about our true capabilities. Janine.
Okay. And how I'm going to lay it out is this will be Greer's intention in that, what he's saying. So
Okay.
does he have, good intentions towards humanity? And this is his information. So the first two cards, really pay attention to that. That'll tell us a lot.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Very good.
So this is Greer. Oh, he's definitely worried about something. So that's stress and worry.
Mm-hmm.
And he did sound stressed and worried.
And he's right. If this runs out of their hands and it's put out by other countries, I mean, it's a leap. It's a first mover advantage with this information if they're going to do it right. And as he's saying, if this is rolled out properly, we have a chance to not completely destroy ourselves. But if it's not, and it's a huge shit show, it could be very problematic for a number of years. And I think that's what he's trying to avoid there. And that's why he's saying, hey, the Trump administration need to be, he was talking a little bit later on in this interview about Pam Bondi and Kash Patel, Elon Musk, need to be briefed on this thoroughly so that they can actually put an action plan to actually penetrate these deep underground bases, the USAPs, the unacknowledged special access programs, to really get a handle on all of this stuff. And so I think maybe that's where they need the public support, because apart from people watching this show, this is not mainstream news. This is kind of like hogwash. It's tinfoil hat. Nobody understands what Greer is talking about here. So is he being put out here as a play to bring in more of the normies into this conversation, to give the Trump administration more leeway to act? Janine, is that what we're seeing?
Well, I'm not sure about that second part you asked, but I'm going to say this is him. So unnecessarily stressing or appearing like he's unnecessarily stressing. And the information, here's the most important part. is take it down quite a few notches. So gossip and innuendo is the card. Okay, so I'm going to say I don't think he's the one out of the loop, not the Trump guys. So I'm going to say, see that card there coming from the past? He's either put in place by the white hat Trump guys, or they already know this and they're way ahead of him. He's the one that needs read in, or he's behaving this way in order to put out, I don't know why the alarm bells, but I feel like the Trump guys are all over this. This feels like he's the one who's off on this, not Elon and Trump. Just looking at the cards. Here's the next thing that happens. We got the Knight of Swords. That's a military card again. Okay, so military going out. So I feel like they're ready for this. They know about it, and they might even have already dealt with this or are already dealing with it in the background, because this card, that's the threat level, and that is not a big card. Okay, it's page. And then here we've got the Queen of Swords. I feel like so now we're getting further information on Greer. He might be critical of the Trump administration and or just thinking he knows more than they do. Now I'm starting to see with that card there. So I'm going to move away from him being maybe told to do that by Trump. I don't know. Maybe he's just not in the loop. And then here we've got the King of Cups. I feel like he's thinking the deep state has more ammo than they do. So he might be still in the idea that they're in better shape than they are from what the cards are saying.
Okay. So it kind of goes to what we were saying. Elon Musk is absolutely read in on this. He's lying, but he's lying for a reason. But my question is then, it feels to me that for Greer's been making the rounds, so there's nothing new there. But I thought the elevation this week of both Alex Jones and the Kardashians, it hit my radar, suggesting that, maybe he doesn't know it, but this is being propelled underneath him without him knowing, in order to make a point, to bring this to the attention, to again give more leeway to the Trump administration. Because right now, the Trump administration, as we have in the first poll, they had a fuck up on the Epstein file. And a big part of the Epstein file is, why the hell are humans doing that to babies? Where did we learn that? Where does that come from? Who's still doing that? Why are they doing that? What's going off-world with the kids, the adrenochrome, all that stuff? It all leads to that. And so on one hand here, Greer is not talking about that. He's talking about economic security. He's talking about national security, but he's not talking about the pedophiles and the popes and the Pharisees, right? So this is the other issue that the Trump administration has to deal with, and why perhaps they're behind the 8 ball right now, and why there's delays. So this could be the part that Greer is not read on when you're looking at that now. He doesn't understand that part of things. Okay, where do we go from here, Janine, on the UFO file? Is the Trump administration actually preferring a fake ET alien invasion, at least to bring this onto the national scope of the human population, or do they want to get ahead of it somehow and start disclosing themselves some of this new technology that could lead to this golden age, that could lead to the innovation boom? What's the holdup there? And at the same time, I'll start with that one because it's very convoluted. Do they want a fake alien invasion so that they have a means after that to pick and choose what they want to bring out into the public and the people will be more accepting of it? Or would they prefer themselves now to use technology and to disclose technology to showcase themselves in this innovation boom and this golden age? What's the Trump administration's game right now? Where do they want to go?
I think some of it they're gauging by public reactions to things, because this is in the public. And so a lot of the way people react to things, maybe even what that Greer guy said, I feel like they're monitoring how what people are talking about, how they're reacting. I feel like they use technology to really understand what's the public opinion about this. How much do people know about this? Yeah. So see, we've got that 4 there. So they're sitting, waiting, and they have all these options. So that's them. And they even have options, like not the real obvious ones, even not so obvious options that they got ways they can go on this, or they believe they do. They believe they got time and ways they can go on it. Maybe not lots of time, but they feel like they're still going to sit up in the air and meditate on this. Okay, and now we've got the 3 of Pentacles here. So this is why they feel like this. A lot of organizations are in on this whole thing. So they've got a lot of people involved. They've got a lot of people supporting what they're doing. I feel like people, I think maybe I mean military, maybe I mean like some of those people in the background that have been making this equipment, this reverse technology equipment. Maybe they've even gone and talked to some of those people. They feel like they've got a good base and they've got a real handle on the information. Not unlike what the Greer guy was saying. The Trump people feel like they got a handle on this, and they probably been talking to these people that are doing making this stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, and here's the past again. So how did they get there? Maybe during the war. Maybe they sent out scouts. Maybe they're military. They're good military, the white hats. They've been at this for a while. Maybe they went and talked to those guys. I feel like they sent out scouts with that card. And now here we've got, that was in the past. So here we've got the 9. So they're getting kind of to the end of being able to sit here and just think about what they're doing. They're going to need to make a decision. I'd say in the next I'd even say months. Right? 2 of Pentacles can be months. Okay. So they're going to have to make a decision, but a lot of it will depend on what the people are talking about. And I feel like they got fingers in all the social medias, and feel like they got a technology that reads everybody's pulse, kind of like Cliff High's technology, right? Looking at the what's going on out there and what's being talked about and what's being said and what are the keywords and like that. They got something like that. I'm not saying it's anything like Cliff's, but they got some version of checking in on the pulse. Right. Yeah. So here we've got the 8 and the Tower. So the 8 of this is interesting. The 8 of Pentacles is working on something and feeling really ready for what Greer was thinking would be a big disaster. I feel like they think they're really ready for that. Even if something crazy blows here, they're ready for it. They think.
Okay, let me read you something. And guys, if you want, maybe hold the cards there, but I think I'll have you reshuffle just to make sure. But hold the cards there just in case we can still use them, or you see what Cliff is getting at here. So earlier tonight, let's see if we can go to this slide deck, this one here. He sent me a few notes, and I asked him if I could share them verbatim, and he said yes. So you can go to beyondmystic.net/notes, and you'll see it's at the top of the page. I've got his picture there of his original gangster suit that he'll be sporting at the conference for his keynote speech. So let me get into this. What if any exposure of any level of these topics, a few listed above, and others, all go back to aliens, harvest, religion, and Jews, specifically rabbis? What if the Trumpitos know this? How would you expect them to react? What if the Trumpitos have someone advising them who is claiming to be reading from the event stream, and maybe he is or isn't, or unskilled? What's happening there with their paradigm? What if the Trumpitos are discovering day by day more and more information about the rapid, serious escalation of human harvesting, including what's happening in the parks here in the USA and in Canada? All of this is in the mix right now. So this is much further than what Stephen Greer is talking about when he talks about economic security and supremacy. This has to do with who's abducting humans, what they're doing with humans, if it's going off world, who's making those contracts, who on the planet is complicit with that, and the ramifications of the justice that needs to play out here when this information comes out, right? So this is what the Trump administration is also dealing with, that perhaps Greer now is not read in as per that first card. Do you want to do a whole other poll on this to see here if the Trump administration is ready to deal with that right now? Because that seems to be, with the Epstein file, with the delay, because they're hitting that wall. It's not just the Epstein list, the traffickers, the people who are hurting children. They're probably ready for serving justice on that, and they might have already done it over the last number of years. We just don't know it yet, right? Some of the things might have already been happening in Guantanamo Bay. But the second part of that, the connection to the ETs, the off-world, the human trafficking, the adrenochrome stuff, that is a whole other can of worms that for now, whether you listen to Kim Kardashian or the Khloe Kardashian or the Alex Jones show, most normies know nothing about. That's going to be a much tougher pill to swallow, and that rollout and that comp plan is 100 times more complicated than the first one. So where is the Trump administration on that, and is that also causing the delays right now?
So where is the Trump administration on rolling that out?
Yeah.
How ready are they?
Yeah.
What do they think they're going to do? Okay, so
on dealing with the fallout of the ET aspect of these files, whether it's a chemtrail, the Epstein list, and all that stuff.
Okay, because the ET element of it is ET's also like adrenochrome.
Yeah.
Maybe even taught humans how to produce it.
That's what I was getting at earlier. We need to get into that if we're going to solve this.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah.
So this will be Trump, the Trumpsters, or whatever you're calling them, Trumpedos. And this is how sort of ready they are and where they think they stand. So we're looking for major arcanas here, solid cards. If they're minor arcanas, yeah, they're not ready. Yeah, stuff like that.
Cliff, if you're still in the chat, open up your Twitter box. I sent you a message. If you have time to look at it, I might come back to that segment at the end of the show. Also, thank you, Cliff. I appreciate it. All right.
Same card. So it's definitely one of the things they're considering.
Mm-hmm.
And they seem to think they have time. I don't think they do, but they
think they have time.
They do.
Yeah, because you said sit and meditate on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I don't think they're up to snuff on this one. So this card's not quite up to par here. I feel like
so that's what Cliff is alluding to, that they're getting briefed on somebody who says they know, but they don't really know what's going on. So they might be in the dark with some of this. Yeah,
I feel like they're just they're not as read in as they need to be, because the Page of Swords, they're hearing about it, but they're maybe not seeing it as big of a deal as it needs to be.
Yeah.
Or they think they've got time. That's another thing. They might think they have time to roll it out in the slow way they've been rolling things. So they've been I
think I might have lost Janine. Janine, if you can still hear me, your video's out and your sound is out. It could be a dog issue, guys. Let's give it one moment. While we wait for Janine here to recuperate, let's hear with one of our other sponsors for the conference, Kathy. No, not Kathy, Dorothy.
I'm Dorothy Clay with purebulk.com. I'm tuned in to the Wacky Woo Show with John Claude and have some exciting news to share. Pure Bulk will be an exhibitor at the upcoming Beyond Mystic Conference in Ottawa, Canada on March 14th, 15th, and 16th. We can't wait to meet you all in person, so be sure to stop by, say hi, and learn more about purebulk.com. Wait, there's more good news. We're offering a limited time discount of 20% off. Not 10, not 15, but 20. So be sure to use code PureWackyWoo at checkout on purebulk.com. Again, that code is PureWackyWoo for 20% off. We can't wait to see you all there. But for now, back to the show.
Thank you, Dorothy. Guys, 20% off. That's amazing on Pure Sleep. If you're wanting to get a better night's sleep, check it out. Go to purebulk.com and enter the code PureWackyWoo and make sure to say hello to Dorothy and her husband who are coming to the conference. They're going to have a big booth there as well in the vendor alley. Still waiting for Janine to come back up with her camera feed here. So while we wait for that, let's hear what Ken Schwartz, another one of our sponsors here from the conference, has to say.
Hey there, this is Ken with C60 Power. I'm hanging out tonight, tuned in to the Wacky Woo Show with Jean-Claude, and I've got some exciting news. C60 Power will be an exhibitor at the oncoming Beyond Mystic Conference in Ottawa, Canada on March the 14th, 15th, and 16th. I can't wait to meet you all in person, so be sure to stop by and say hi and learn more about how C60 can supercharge your health. And here's the best part. We're extending the 20% off deal on all C60 gummies. Just use the code WACKYWOO at checkout on www.shopc60.com. See you there.
All right, guys. I'm trying to text Janine here. I see her card moving. Okay, so Janine, unmute your cell phone there for your card view. Maybe we could use that to finish the show. Oh, I just lost Janine there as well. Again. It's funny. I was having a side chat about something else as this happened, and I'm reminded that there's no coincidence in our ontological model. Absolutely funny indeed. So, guys, if I can't get Janine back on here in the next minute, I'm trying to text her on the other side as well. So there you go. I think I've got her back. Janine, back to back. What's happening? What's happening?
Sorry, guys. It's all my fault. I'm in my Vancouver studio and anyway, my computer is not booted up enough. So
Okay.
Sorry, guys. So sorry. Okay, I can show you this again.
Yeah, or you use your phone again, show us the cards, and just explain
Maybe
to us
take
the
a
last one.
screenshot or something.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yeah. You
And
can come back.
Can
Yeah.
you see the cards?
Yeah. So hold on a second. I'll take that screenshot. I'll bring it back on the slide deck for everyone to see a little bit bigger, and you can bring
Perfect.
the cards back on you. Hold on. Let's do that live here. Crop. Yes. Yes. And then let's do this. Pretty honest. Okay. There's always a way, guys, to make this work. So let's see here if we can go back to this tab and this one here. Does that work? See, now I can add to screen.
Andy Shackman.
Hold on. No, not that one. Where did you go? It's so weird. I'm having these issues. What a weird night tonight.
It's a retrograde Venus.
Oh, that's true. Is that tonight already?
Yeah, that can be weird. Yeah.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure it's a Venus retrograde.
Yeah, I can't get. Let's see if I can remove this one and then go back to add that one. See, that worked. Okay.
Okay.
So weird. Okay.
Okay. So I was talking about so Trumpedos are underestimating. First of all, they think they got too much time or more time, and they don't. And I feel like I think Cliff's right on the money on that, what he was saying, because they're underestimating the situation and they might be getting information, Page of Swords, gossip and innuendo. I don't think they're getting all the clear information on the situation. And the Two of Swords, so it's holding things up. And that's part of the holdup. They're trying to catch up to speed, maybe. I feel like they might actually have an inkling about it. Like they've maybe even surprised themselves and kind of, they thought they had it all covered. And remember, the Q's always saying, yeah, or I don't know who's saying that, but I thought it was Q, but they got everything. Well, I think they do have a lot, but I feel like they're underestimating that situation, how you described it. You might want to describe it again for those that forgot what we were talking about.
Just essentially that the disclosure of any of those topics, the chemtrails, the Epstein stuff, the technology leads us into the ETs and then leads us into the human harvesting, which is the part that nobody's talking about other than the few people on watching these shows, right? But none of the mainstream news have even touched anything remotely to it, but it is part of it. And when you look at Greer's intro on the Alex Jones show, he said, like, you can't have a golden age if you don't fix this problem. Like, he's absolutely right. We need to get through this wall of secrecy, get through why we're doing that, why these people are in power on the planet, who they're doing that for, and we need to really understand, and we can clear it and then move past it. And that's the part I think that's very tricky for them. Go ahead.
I pulled this when you were talking. I totally agree. This card makes things really important. You absolutely have to pay attention to it. So I agree.
Yeah.
And then this card, end the delusions. So yeah, they got to catch up to speed. I hope they're watching this show.
Yeah. Well, apparently they'll be watching our conference. So we'll see. It is the Woo Beginning conference. I'm sure we'll have a lot of eyes on us. Now, do you want to do a poll on clarity on timing, on when they have a grasp on it? Because again, here, what Greer is saying is, if they don't get a grasp on this, other countries might, thinking that they're going to address this from a technological standpoint or a military standpoint or security standpoint, only to hit that same wall of, holy shit, now we're talking about ETs and harvesting, and the people weren't primed or ready for that conversation, and it goes absolutely haywire. Think, what was that movie, War of the Worlds, or that radio show, and how it freaked out everybody? We could be looking at a scenario like that. That's what Greer is worried about. And I think to that point, he's on the money with that, if this doesn't come out in the right, controlled manner.
And so how did you ask the question?
I want timing on when the Trump administration get a handle on this.
So we've got the Six of Pentacles, that everything's going along one thing at a time and working out better than they thought. So in other areas, or they're putting something ahead of this, like finances, and the Devil. So I feel like unless they catch up, they will be too late, because they're just putting it down the road a little, like 6 months maybe.
Well, Cliff has this summer being really weird.
Yeah, or the 6th month, another way. What's that? What's the 6th month? Is that June? Yeah.
Yeah, 6 months.
The 6th month.
Yeah.
And I feel like the Devil, so I feel like they need to catch up here. Let's hope they hear this.
Let's hope they do. Okay. Cliff said, let me see if I can go back to that, share that again. For some reason, it's not working. Actually, maybe it does here. Having so much weird troubles with the deck tonight. Does that work? Okay, this one here. In my opinion, this is Cliff High saying, they have until the end of the first week of April. If no visible change by then, the moment will pass, and they will be losing credibility and authority by the hour. Right? That's what we were talking about. That's what Penny Kelly saw a couple of months ago. People were really pissed at her, but we're kind of in that time frame now where this is a possibility. At least it needs to be considered by the administration, because it's going to affect everything else and their ability to move forward with all the other cleanup agenda also in the States. So a lot's riding on this here too. And he did say, let me see if I can scroll up a little bit somewhere else. He says, remember, we do not know if it will be the fake alien invasion or the real that pops up first. He says, I'm hoping for the former, as they will be inept and easily pirated. Of course, Cliff wants to pirate a ship. But it's going to be a fun in the sun this summer. So he's looking at the summer. Something is coming up in his data. So it seems June there, at least the beginnings of it. July, maybe. We're going to be in the thick of things here. Cliff, correct me if I'm wrong there in the live chat too, on the timing there of when this ET stuff is supposed to pop off here. Okay, I won't jinx it a little much, too much longer, guys, seeing as we're missing the card view and my card deck is acting wonky as hell. Let's give away some prizes here before we go, and I'll have Janine pull one last time here at the end of the show as well. So let's give away this beautiful Ascension Organites Tarot card, natural candle here. This is the Ace of Cups. Beautiful, beautiful scent there as well. Janine, do you have a question for the audience members to give this one away? Oh wow, 15,000 watching live. There's 11,000 or so here on Rumble, and there are 4,000 on Twitter. You know what? I was watching the Liberal leadership race earlier tonight. They had like 9,000 people watching, so we're doing better than the national Liberal leadership race on CBC. On their YouTube channel earlier today, they had like 11,000. I think they had at the maximum peak. All right, Janine, a question for the audience.
Okay, question is, what did I say this was? Tonight I said it a couple of times. It's gossip and what?
Okay, the second word, gossip and while we wait for that to populate, guys, please do go and check out tarotbyjanine.com and support Janine there for about the price of a cup of coffee per month to get all the news and access to the community chat to ask questions and also direct the shows and help her put more content on the shows that better suit you. So that's tarotbyjanine.com. And also, if you're interested in joining us, of course, the conference ticket in person is sold out, but you can still join us online through the online streaming pass. We'll give you 3 full days of live access and forever replay as well for all the keynotes and workshops and all the fun here happening in Ottawa this next week. Please do go check it out there at beyondmystic.academy while there's still passes made available. The first ones did sell out really quickly, and this one are going faster and faster as well by the hour, and I'm seeing quite a few come in here during the live show as well. All right, I do wish you guys come and join us in mass for the online streaming pass as well, and we'll make it worth your while there as well during the conference. Okay, Janine, let me know when to stop the feed.
Okay, stop.
Stop. Kitty me. There you go. Innuendo.
Yeah.
That's the correct answer. Kitty me, if you send me an email, go to beyondmystic.net, top of the page, fill out the tech support form there, and congratulations, you're the winner of the candle. Next up is the pyramid from Carla Ascension Organites. This is a beautiful one. Patricia.
Hello, everyone.
Gorgeous pyramid, absolutely. Janine, do you have a question for this one as well?
Oh, man. Ooh, what's my death card? That I always say that's really the death card. And it isn't the death card in the tarot. Which card do I refer to as
Wait. Can I ask the question instead?
Yeah, you ask.
Okay. I just realized I had a funny one. So I talked about the Kardashians, not the Kardashians, earlier, and I said just wait until the blank assets are exposed. Whose intelligence assets of the Kardashians was I referring to? For all you Trekkies out there, or just rewind the show and you'll figure it out. So blank assets are exposed. Who was I talking about in Star Trek? There were the intelligence agencies associated to the Kardashians. Ooh, I saw the answer. Hold on. The first one just went through. Let me see if I can scroll back up. It went by fast. There you go. Trickster 14. Is that it? Yeah, the Black Obsidian. No, actually, that's wrong. That's close, but that's wrong. You got one word right there. So you were close, but no. So let's scroll back down here. We'll see if we can find it. There you go. Okay, so just tell me when to stop the feed. We'll pick one. There's a lot of great answers now. Go ahead, Janine. Let me know when.
Stop.
Black Obsidian. No. Somebody else had it. There you go. I'll scroll up. Katie May. 1, 2, 3. The Obsidian Order. Yes. Okay, tricky fan. Congratulations. You're the winner of the pyramid here for tonight. All right. Again, just go to beyondmystic.net, top of the page, and fill out that form, and we'll get Carla to send that out to you as soon as possible. All right, Janine. How do you want to ask the last question before the show? Where do you want to go? Where do you think would be appropriate moving into this week to the conference? Do you have a question that you wanted to ask before we started the show here tonight?
Yeah. Let's pull 3 cards on everybody coming to the conference.
Okay.
What do we want? What does the universe need us to know?
Okay. Other than bring your dancing shoes, paint your toenails, disco color.
Paint. Okay, interesting. 5 of this was the first card. Okay, so that's the 5 of Swords, which is inner fighting. Okay, this feels like how I feel this week. You wouldn't believe the stuff I got to organize to get going here and get everything ready. That feels like what everybody might be experiencing, just to make sure they get there on time, pulling everything together. This card can be a little frustrating. Setbacks. We do have a Venus retrograde, I believe. And it's just, even if we're not right in the retrograde, we're in the shadow period of the retrograde. Okay, so a Venus shadow period retrograde. So some of your outfits, because Venus, it's about your look and everything. You might be changing your idea about your look. Your hair's not working out, like silly things like that. Like this feels like there could be some setbacks, but there's it's a minor arcana. So just have patience with the situation and trust. When you got a Venus retrograde, you might have to go 3 or 4 times, packing and repacking. That's actually what I had to do just to fit everything I wanted to bring in. Okay. And then this card here. So anticipation, working up to. Okay, I've noticed this week and the last week and then this weekend, time's going so slow because I'm excited about it. Okay, so people might feel the same thing. Some people might find it speeded up. Some people might find it's crawling along just in your anticipation, getting up to the day you leave for the conference or when it starts, right? So you're going to need patience with the situation, and in that try to do something different instead of just thinking about it. All of these things feel like my reading because I'm feeling all of those things. And then this card here. So this is a looking forward to something. Okay, we're not there yet. Okay, but this card here, we've got the Page of Pentacles, looking forward. Here's the cool thing about this conference. I feel like you're going to be surprised because pages can surprise you at physically how people look in real time. Okay, so a lot of you guys have never seen the bottom parts of us. Ooh, I hope I don't disappoint too many people. Anyway, just physically, be prepared to be surprised by physical presence. When I first met Jean-Claude, the guy is a statue of height and just intense energy. It's awesome, right? But it's different than you think. He had a funny experience when he first met me. Tell him about it, Jean-Claude.
Yeah. I was like, oh my God, you have the Hawkeye. You're so, in person, you're like so intimidating. It's like you see right through your soul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll try not to be like that.
Yeah.
And the glasses soften it up.
Yeah. Oh my God. It's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah. So looking for surprises, meeting people. Well, that last part too, it's also about meeting people in physicality. A lot of people coming to the conference have been chatting with each other in this community for 5 years or so, but never met themselves in person. So that's going to be new for them as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Make sure, because you're going to meet a lot of new friends. You could even make lifetime friends. Okay. And unexpected friends, meeting people you never would have expected to be friends with 5 years ago. You know what I mean? But this card says strategy, be strategic. So bring a notebook, take down people use their phone nowadays to get them to put their number in your phone or their emails, keeping in touch with each other once you get to know some people. I would say that would be a really smart idea.
Very good.
Leave the conference with some new friends for sure.
Yeah. Speaking of notebooks, we have you covered. You're going to have a Beyond Mystic Sending Ravens notebook in your tote bag. It's part of the goodies that we've got set up for you there at the conference. So you'll be able to take notes. You don't need to bring a notebook. We've got some cool other stuff in the tote bag. I know that Aline is also making a special edition Sending Ravens soap for you guys, natural soaps. You're going to be excited to see her new product offerings. She's going to have a big booth as well there. Man, so many cool new people also coming up at the conference that you guys are going to meet. We're so excited. Last couple of days for us too is just a little bit frantic energies for Sarah and I. It's like 1,000 little details every day, people calling, booth operators, the hotels, the security guys with details and stuff like that. But yeah, we're almost there. We're very excited. Sarah was packing earlier today too. A little bit nervous about, okay, how many outfits do I need? Like, we're there for the whole week, right? So there's a lot going on. So yeah, it'll be fun. Anything else, Janine, you want to share before we go?
I'm just pulling one more.
Okay.
Same one again. Okay. Surprising friendships, but going deeper into this card, it can be like a lot of us might have known each other in past lives. We've discussed this before.
Yeah.
On Jean-Claude and I, when we first got to know each other, we even looked into it and it looked like we karmically knew each other. I feel like there could be a lot of people sort of long lost, soul connected. It's a soul family coming together.
Yeah. That's so cool. I'm excited. We'll see them all in person. Guys, thank you so much for watching tonight. Apologies for all the weird glitches of this pre-Mercury retrograde or Mercury retrograde we're already in. I love you guys. Again, for the schedule this week, please stay tuned to beyondmystic.net page on the schedule page. We'll try to get some impromptu shows as we can, as we get to the venue and get everything organized for you guys. And I know some of the staff are already still doing shows this week, including Meg, and Janine is also going to be doing her world news. So check out the new gallery page on Tarot by Janine, where you can see the schedule now. Sarah added that with Malva there just the last couple of days for you guys. And for those of you who are looking for the rest of the gallery, of course, when you log into gallery right now, they're seeing their schedule and people are emailing Sarah, where's my gallery? I can't see my video. Just scroll down. It's just below the schedule. Don't worry. It's all there. And also, I think they're doing some upgrades this next weekend on the Tarot by Janine site also. So you might see some different buttons in different places on the community. They're doing some tests there as well. So don't freak out. New changes, new functionalities coming up. And it's all good.
Mới chỉ là võ đồ cấp 3, sao chỉ vài ngày mà đã có thể thăng cấp như tên lửa thăng thiên vậy chứ? Trên người tiểu tử này, sao lại phát sinh nhiều kỳ tích như vậy đây? Huống hồ kể cả là võ sĩ cấp 1 mà hấp thu nhiều hàn khí như vậy thì chỉ sợ ngay cả huyết mạch cũng đã sớm đông thành băng vụn. Vì sao thằng này lại tí tởn điềm nhiên như không có việc gì thế? Nhìn chằm chằm cái vẻ mặt người vô tội mà Sở Dương trưng ra tới nửa ngày, Ô Vân Lương cũng đành ngậm miệng, cụp mắt cầu nhau. Được rồi, ta cũng không hỏi nữa. Kệ xác cho ngươi giả đò đi, chỉ mong khi tới Thiết Vân ngươi cũng vẫn có thể giả bộ tiếp như vậy. Vậy cũng tốt, đệ tử sẽ không phụ lòng lão nhân ra ngài a. Sở Dương cười hiền lành, vẻ mặt ngoài nét đôn hậu trung thực thì lại có thêm cả vẻ thành thật ngây thơ. Ô Vân Lương cứng họng một hồi nhìn xem. Vẻ mặt trung hậu chất phác của thằng này, nghiến răng nói, nếu ai đi tin cái vẻ mặt này của ngươi thì hắn thuần túy là thằng ngu. Nếu tin thêm cả mấy câu nói thành thật kia nữa, chắc hẳn thằng nọ đã bị bán đi không biết bao nhiêu lần rồi. Mạnh Siêu Nhiên ngửa mặt cười sằng sặc. Sau khi từ biệt Ô Vân Lương, trên cả đoạn đường trở về từ Trúc Biên thì Mạnh Siêu Nhiên lại trầm mặc xuống. Sở Dương tuy biết rõ Mạnh Siêu Nhiên đang lo lắng cho mình nhưng lại không biết giải quyết như thế nào. Muốn nói chút gì để sư phụ yên lòng nhưng lại cảm thấy bất luận mình nói sao đi nữa thì cũng hết sức lượng cảm, tuyệt đối không thể làm sư phụ bớt lo tí nào nên cũng đành yên lặng theo. Hai thầy trò lầm lũi đi về tới cửa của Từ Trúc Biên thì đã nghe thấy tiếng hô hét rất có lực xuyên thấu màng nhĩ của đàn ở bên trong truyền tới. Đừng chạy, còn chạy nữa ta đem ngươi hầm cách thủy làm canh uống. Hai người đồng loạt khẽ giật mình, vội vàng xông vào thì chỉ thấy Đàm đang chồng mông cua khoáng bên bờ ao, bọt nước văng tung tóe. Sau đó hắn bỗng reo lên tích chí rồi cầm một con cá nhảy dựng lên, hơ hơ trên đỉnh đầu, cười hề hà sảng khoái. Mạnh Siêu Nhiên bỗng giật mình sững sờ rồi đột nhiên xông vọt tới. Sở Dương cũng là cực kỳ kinh ngạc, không ngờ Đàm lại có thể bắt được cái loại đồ tốt đến thế này. Đây là một con cá kỳ quái, toàn thân đen bóng không chút lân phiến, đầu cá lại tròn vành vạch, không có mắt. Hẳn là một loại cá mù loà, còn cá cũng không lớn mấy, xem qua cũng nặng không đến nửa cân. Đàm, buông nó. Mạnh Siêu Nhiên thanh âm gấp gáp hét, ngàn vạn lần đừng giết nó. Khuôn mặt Đàm tràn ngập vẻ khó hiểu, quay đầu lại, thấy người vừa hét là Mạnh Siêu Nhiên thì mới hưng phấn kêu, sư Sư phụ, Sở Dương, xem này, con vừa bắt được một con cá quái. Lắm. Đàm Đàm còn đang hưng phấn khoe khoang thì con cá nọ bỗng giãy giụa mãnh liệt một cái, từ trong tay hắn vùng thoát ra, ở trên không trung kéo ra một đường vòng cung yêu mỹ vòng trở lại trong ao. Mạnh Siêu Nhiên tay mắt lanh lẹ, mạnh mẽ bắn người lao đi, trước khi con cá thoát xuống mặt nước thì vươn tay chộp lại, sau đó trực tiếp lộn một vòng ngược lại. Trong tay hắn không biết từ lúc nào đã cầm một cái chậu nước, cơ hồ như không ngơi nghỉ chút nào mà lại quay trở lại ao nước múc xâm xấp khoảng nửa chậu nước rồi đem con cá nọ thả vào. Sau đó Mạnh Siêu Nhiên mới lau qua đống bọt nước vừa văng lên mặt, mỉm cười đem chậu nước đưa cho Đàm Đàm, đem để ở trong phòng của ngươi đi, cẩn thận để ý chăm sóc nó nhé. Con cá này cực kỳ chân quý đấy, ngàn vạn lần đừng để nó chết a. Đàm Đàm ngơ ngác nói, sư phụ, đây là cá gì, nhỏ như vậy, nấu canh cũng không đủ nữa. Nấu canh, người chỉ biết có ăn thôi hả? Mạnh Siêu Nhiên vừa bực mình vừa buồn cười khẽ cốc một cái lên đầu Đàm Đàm. Khiển trách, đây chính là vật báu vô giá, ăn đi chẳng phải quá đáng tiếc à? Vật báu vô giá, Đàm Đàm như hiểu ra cái gì, tò mò soi mói tỉ mỉ con cá. Trông trái xem phải, giòn trên ngó dưới, cái này không phải chẳng qua chỉ là một con cá mà thôi sao? Mặc dù hình dáng có kỳ quái một chút nhưng cũng hẳn không phải là một con rồng trứng. Đây là hấp linh thánh ngư. Sở Dương cũng ngồi xổm xuống cẩn thận nhìn con cá thốt lên, thật không thể tưởng được, Đàm Đàm thế mà có thể kiếm được một cái bảo bối cỡ này, vận khí quả là không tệ. Hấp linh thánh ngư, Sở Dương nhẹ nhàng góp lời, đúng vậy. Hấp linh thánh ngư, trong truyền thuyết từ xa xưa chính là bảo bối của Tam Tinh Thánh Tộc. Trước khi loại cá này trưởng thành thì ăn thịt cũng không có gì đặc biệt, hơn nữa nó cũng không có tí kỹ năng cường hãn nào cả. Nhưng nếu đem con cá này bỏ vào xô hoặc chậu rồi nuôi dưỡng trong phòng mình, vậy thì nó có thể hấp thu thiên địa linh khí chung quanh một phạm vi lớn tụ tập lại. Đối với sự tu luyện của võ giả thì hiệu quả đã có thể nói là làm chơi ăn thật rồi. Có thể nói con cá này chính là bảo bối mà võ giả tha thiết ước mơ. Đúng vậy, hơn nữa chỗ tốt lớn nhất chính là có con cá này gần người thì thiên địa linh khí bốn phía thu nạp tới cũng đều hết sức tinh khiết. Đây mới là chỗ quý báu nhất của nó. Loại này cá vốn chỉ tồn tại trong truyền thuyết, bao nhiêu năm rồi cũng chỉ được miêu tả lại trong sách vở mà chưa hề có người trông thấy nó. Đàm Đàm, người làm sao mà phát hiện được nó hả? Mạnh Siêu Nhiên kinh hỉ nhìn Đàm Đàm cảm thán nói, mới vừa thôi à? Vừa rồi con đang múc nước bên bờ ao thì đột nhiên sắc trời bỗng tối sầm lại, đưa tay không thấy được 5 ngón. Con sợ quá ngây người không dám động đậy gì ở bên bờ ao trọn vẹn nửa canh giờ thì trời mới bắt đầu sáng lại. Bỗng ngay lúc đó con lại thấy một chỗ bùn gần mép nước cạnh con không ngừng nhấp nha nhấp nhổm tựa hồ có thứ gì đó muốn chui ra. Sau đó con liền chăm chú quan sát chỗ đó. Đàm Đàm nhún vai, sau đó thằng này liền chui lên từ trong bùn mà con thấy. Hình thù nó kỳ quái thì tò mò mà tóm lấy thôi. Trời tối sầm, Mạnh Siêu Nhiên cũng nhíu mày. Lúc xuất hiện thiên biến thì hắn và Ô Vân Nương đều đang ở trong thạch thất nên căn bản không biết. Giờ phút này nghe Đàm Đàm nói thế thì lập tức cảm thấy có chút khác thường. Bầu trời tối đen nửa canh giờ, sau đó con cá này liền chui từ trong bùn ra. Mạnh Siêu Nhiên ngửa đầu nhìn trời, trong mắt lóe lên một tia sầu lo, những thứ liên quan tới thánh tộc từ rất lâu đã không xuất hiện trên đời rồi. Vì sao hấp linh thánh ngư này lại đột nhiên xuất hiện, rồi lại đang là buổi sáng thì bỗng nhiên bầu trời tối đen lại? Thế là vì sao? Chẳng lẽ trời đất chuẩn bị có biến hay sao đây? Mạnh Siêu Nhiên đau khổ suy tư, nhưng nửa ngày sau cũng vẫn đành rốt cục buông tha cho. Có điều từ hai đầu lông mày mà xem thì hiển nhiên hắn lại có thêm một cái tâm sự trong lòng rồi. Sở Dương cũng có chút khó hiểu nheo nheo mắt, hắn đồng dạng cũng không biết khi mình lấy được mũi cửu kiếp kiếm rồi ngay lúc dung hợp thì lại phát sinh chuyện kinh thiên động địa vĩ đại như vậy. Đàm Đàm, con cá này nếu đã do ngươi phát hiện ra thì ngươi lấy một cái xô bỏ vào rồi đem nó nuôi tại trong phòng đi à? Trên mặt Mạnh Siêu Nhiên lại đã khôi phục vẻ lạnh nhạt thường ngày. Vâng, sư phụ. Con cùng Sở Dương vẫn ở chung ghế phòng. Như vậy cả hai chúng con đều có thể lợi dụng nó một chút rồi. Ha ha ha. Đàm Đàm sung sướng cười hồn nhiên. Từ hôm nay trở đi, Sở Dương với người tách ra ngủ. Vẻ mặt Mạnh Siêu Nhiên trầm xuống. Vì cái gì? Đàm Đàm thất vọng kêu lên. Không vì sao cả, Sở Dương còn có những chuyện trọng yếu khác nữa. Vậy nên con cá này để ở trong phòng Sở Dương đi nhé. Đàm Đàm vẻ mặt cầu xin, vạn phần khẩn khoản nói. Vì con cũng rất cần thiết nhưng Sở Dương sắp đi ra ngoài chấp hành nhiệm vụ nguy hiểm. Huynh ấy so với con thì càng cần thiết hơn. Dù chỉ có thể tăng lên một chút cũng rất tốt rồi à. Tốt nhất là lúc Sở Dương đi ra ngoài cũng mang theo nó luôn. Như vậy huynh ấy có thể tùy lúc tùy chỗ hấp thu thiên địa linh khí rồi. Sở Dương trong nội tâm chấn động, quay đầu lại nhìn Đàm Đàm, chỉ cảm thấy một dòng ấm áp trong nội tâm trào lên. Vậy mà thật lâu không nói gì. Chỗ tốt của hấp linh thánh ngư thì vừa rồi Mạnh Siêu Nhiên đã nói rất rõ ràng. Đàm Đàm mặc dù có chút không hiểu chuyện nhưng lại tuyệt đối không phải là người ngu, không thể có chuyện hắn chưa hiểu được. Nhưng vật báu vô giá như vậy mà hắn lại dứt khoát không muốn chiếm làm của riêng, thậm chí ngay cả mí mắt cũng không nháy lấy một cái đã muốn đưa cho mình rồi. Mặc dù hắn cũng muốn dùng, nhưng vẫn dứt khoát muốn đem tặng cho mình. Vì cái gì? Trong mắt Mạnh Siêu Nhiên tràn đầy vẻ mừng vui. Con ở đây bên cạnh sư phụ thì không có chút nguy hiểm gì cả. Đàm Đàm nghiêm túc nói. Sở Dương so với con càng cần hơn. Đứa nhỏ ngốc. Mạnh Siêu Nhiên vươn tay vuốt vuốt đầu Đàm Đàm nói. Người nếu muốn bảo hộ Sở Dương trước hết phải gắng tăng cường thực lực mình cho tốt. Đợi tới khi huynh đệ của ngươi cần ngươi hỗ trợ thì mới có thể góp sức hiệu quả nhất được. Sở Dương đi ra ngoài sông sáo. Nếu mang theo thứ này